The Capital Investment Committee hearing for March 27th is called to order. Representative Reyer, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for March 22nd?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the minutes for March 22nd.
Representative Reyer moves approval of the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The motion prevails. The minutes are adopted. Members, we will start hearing bills on informational basis only, and for members and testifiers, 5 minutes for each presentation, and so please keep your remarks within that time frame. And first up, House File 2983, Representative Davids.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Lead Erdahl. And first of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank this committee for putting a great bonding bill together. Please don't ask me to explain why the Senate does what the Senate does, but I'm not qualified to do that. I'm new here. So House File 2983 is a bill to finish a project that this legislature has already seen as necessary and has already funded. This project basically goes from Harmony, Minnesota area. And what it does, why this one's so important, is because it hooks up with the state of Iowa in what they're working with on their trail system. So this would hook in with the state of Iowa. Again, this bill has already been funded because of COVID and inflation. We do need another $4 million to finish this one off. So this is not a new project coming in, but this is to finish off an existing project. I have with me today several guests here, one representing the city of Harmony, well, both representing the city of Harmony. I'd like to turn it over, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Chris Geeson with the Harmony EDA.
Welcome. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Chris Geeson. I am the staff for the Harmony Economic Development Authority. As Representative Davids mentioned, this bill would finish off a roughly 6-mile segment from the city of Harmony to the Iowa border. This received funding in 2018, but as Representative Davids mentioned, COVID and inflation took this one to the back seat. So we appreciate your consideration and support, and I'd stand for any questions.
Representative Carroll.
Thank you, Chair. This question's for whomever. So you say it's hooking up with the Iowa connection, and I'm familiar with some of the Iowa trails around Okoboji. They're paved. Is this paved with concrete? Is this going to be paved?
Mr. Geeson.
Mr. Chair, thank you. No, this would be an asphalt bituminous paved trail, bicycle only. I would connect in the Winneshiek, Howard County area in northeast Iowa. Yeah, the trail has not yet connected up to the Minnesota line, but it would be in the near future connecting at that point.
And
Representative Carroll.
Chair, one more question. What's the distance between that and Iowa border?
Mr. Geeson.
Mr. Chair, thank you. It is about 6 miles, 3 miles as the crow flies.
Okay, close. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chair Henson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I need to disclose that property interest near this trail and therefore cannot be taking action on it, so.
Thank you, Chair Henson. Representative Erdahl.
But Chairman Lee, if Mr. Representative Hansen would vote on it, he'd be for it, but he hasn't.
Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I've been down on this trail before on a tour, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago now. Been down in the cave, enjoyed that. I'm just wondering, Representative Davids, now is this for hiking and biking or both?
Representative Davids.
It's for hiking, biking, but no motorized vehicles allowed. Sometimes they'll have permits issued where a tractor can take a hay wagon with a whole bunch of seats in it for senior citizens. Might get a permit to do that, but that's about it. It's not snowmobile, it's not motorcycle, it's just non-motorized vehicles.
Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and Representative Davids. So do you primarily bike or hike down the trail?
Representative Davids.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have thought about both.
Representative Scrava.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Are e-bikes allowed on this trail? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Representative, yes, they are. And Mr. Chairman, that gives me hope that I'll be doing more biking.
Thank you, Representative Davids. Quick closing comments.
Well, thank you, and I want to thank the folks that came up from Harmony. House File 2983 is just finishing a project that this legislature has already funded, and it'd be good to finish this one off.
Thank you, Representative Davids. Next on the agenda, we have 2 bills for Representative Greenman. First up,
Thank you,
House
Mr.
File
Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. House File 1041. Welcome, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I'm grateful to be here to present 1041, which is a request for $17 million to repair, renovate, and do the construction for the Nicollet Avenue Bridge over Minnehaha Creek. The total construction project is $39.8 million, with $7 million of federally funding already secured. So I have the Director of Public Works for Minneapolis and former House Speaker, Margaret Anderson Keller, here to testify. So I'm just going to keep this very brief. I just wanted to say that this is an important bridge in my district and carries a lot of traffic, an average of 8,948 vehicles a day, as well as pedestrians and bikes. And it has severe concrete erosion from water and salt migration under the structural elements. Anybody who's ever walked on Minnehaha Creek under this bridge can see the visible signs of corrosion and exposure. And I actually had a journalist reach out and say that that's the shots he usually uses to show that kind of erosion. It's been deemed structurally deficient and in need of rehabilitation. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'd like to turn it over to my testifier.
Welcome back, Director, to the House. Identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Margaret Anderson Kelleher. I'm the Director of Public Works for the City of Minneapolis. Pleased to be in front of you again. I want to thank Representative Greenman for carrying this bill for the city, House File 1041. So she already has told you the request is for $17 million for this historic bridge. The request is for general obligation bonds to supply the money. The important part, we did supply you with a fact sheet. On there, you actually can see the degradation of this bridge. This bridge is one of 4 large concrete rib arch bridges that were designed and built by the city of Minneapolis between 1914 and 1929. The others are the Franklin Avenue Bridge, the 10th Avenue Bridge, and the 3rd Avenue Bridge. The 3rd Avenue Bridge is now owned by MnDOT, is currently under rehabilitation. Both Franklin and 10th Avenue have been rehabbed by the city of Minneapolis. The bridge is structurally deficient. I think that is one of the most important things you need to know about this bridge. We also have been working with a historian to make sure that this project complies with the Secretary of Interior's standards for the treatment of historic properties, because it is, again, a historic bridge. The new bridge railing will be similar. One of the important things is the railing originally installed in 1923. All of the project parts and all components above the arch ribs will be replaced. So this is basically taking it right down to its beams, and the piers will also be replaced as well. The new cross-section will have a bike buffer on it as well for safety, and separate car and truck traffic away from bicycle and pedestrian use, in keeping with the city's efforts for multimodal transportation options citywide. Again, the project is estimated to be $39.8 million. We already have secured $7 million in federal funding. We are pursuing other options, but at this time, we have not heard anything about those options, and so therefore the request of $17 million. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify.
Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Director, what is your title now, Ms. Anderson Keller?
Mr. Chair and Representative Erdahl's Director.
Thank you. I was started on that, but I'm losing track here.
Sounds like.
But I would like you, Director Anderson Keller, to put on your Transportation Commissioner hat again for a moment. Would this fit under local roads and bridges funding?
So,
Director.
Mr. Chair and Representative Erdahl, because it's not, I do not believe municipal state aid eligible, it needs to have geo bonding to be rehabbed in this case. So it could be cash, however, Mr. Chair, it could be a cash project for sure.
Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we do have in our, well, it's in the GO portion of the bill that is in limbo at the moment. But we have the category which is GO for local roads and bridges. And so the question is, would this fit under that category?
Director.
So, Mr. Chair and Representative Erdahl, I believe that if it's geobonding, it could fall into that category with a specific earmark for the bridge.
Representative.
But certainly, Mr. Chair, Mr. Lee and council would be important to consult with.
Director, the 7 million secured from the federal government, is there an expiration date to that?
So, Mr. Chair, this came through the Met Council, and we probably could get an extension. However, if we do not get the 17 million from the state at this point, we have to wait to be able to fully fund this project through city tax dollars. And this bridge will be defunct in 10 years and would have to be closed. It's currently not weight limited on the driving lanes, but it does have weight limits on vehicles being on the sidewalks, like for a snooper truck that would look underneath the bridge and do the inspection.
And Director, on your handout says that this is a potential BRT route. Has there been a route identified for this project?
So, Mr. Chair, I think on Nicollet, I am not quite sure if Nicollet has a BRT route slotted yet, but one of the future F line, possibly.
Can you follow up with information for this and the expiration of these 7 million too? See no
Mr.
other
Chair, I will.
questions? Thank you. Quick closing comments, Representative Greenman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that Director Anderson Kelleher made the case. This is a bridge that we need to get, is important for the district, and we need to get repaired, rehabilitated, at the top replaced.
Thank you. Next up, Representative Greenman, House File 2375. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm grateful to be able to present House File 2375, which is a request for $18 million in fiscal year 2024 to rehabilitate and remodel Historic Building 6 at Minnesota Veterans Home in Minneapolis. And I don't see Director Ben Johnson, so I think I'm going to take a little bit more time in explaining this. For those who haven't been there, to the Minneapolis Veterans Home, to the right on the Mississippi River near Minnehaha Falls. It's beautiful. It was originally constructed in 1887 for indigent Civil War veterans, and currently houses 291 veterans in the skilled nursing facilities and 50 domiciliary beds. And it continues to house veterans from around the Twin Cities. Right now, as we talk about in the Veterans Committee a lot, the demand for beds is much greater than the supply, and especially in the Twin Cities that Minneapolis Veterans Homes supplies. The waiting list is over a year long. Rehabbing Building 6 is a key to expanding the number of beds in the Twin Cities to deal with the waiting list and serve the Minnesota veterans who need the care. Given the age and the continuous use of the campus, there are needs for repair and rehabilitation. None more on the campus than Building 6. It's used to house veterans, but has sat empty for the last couple of years. Its HVAC, plumbing, and infrastructure are shot. When I toured Building 6 with Commissioner Herkey right before session, it was unbearably hot, visibly showed impact of the flooding incident a few years ago. The building is currently unusable, and we'll either have to spend resources to tear down the historic building or to rehabilitate it and get those beds. It's an $18 million expenditure to fund the design, the rehabilitation, and the renovation costs to serve those additional veterans, and would provide sort of the standard that we're now starting to provide with privacy and more comfort with single rooms with restrooms. The expenditure represents 35% of the total project costs and authorizes Commissioner Herkey to apply for the remaining 65% to be matched by the federal government. This is an important investment, both for the campus, but also to serve the Minnesota veterans, and to expand the number of beds available at a time where we're really seeing that need. With that, Mr. Chair, I thought that Director Ben Johnson would be here from Department of Veterans Affairs, but I don't see him, so I will answer any questions.
So Representative Greenman, do you know what is the timeline for the federal matching funds if we were to allocate this?
My understanding is when we get the state money, then we are put on a list to match the federal funds. So it's an ongoing project list that the federal government has, the Department of Veterans Affairs at the federal level.
So it's not going to be a guarantee that we're gonna get federal funds?
I think that the way it works is that there is a priority list, so we sort of wait for that funds. But with my conversation with the commissioner, my understanding is the real key to unlocking the federal funds is the state funding.
Can you have the commissioner and somebody from the agency follow up with that piece?
Happy to have that.
Thank you. Closing comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I said, if anybody is interested in going out and visiting this facility, you've probably had a conversation about the facility in Hastings, and I know we went out there to visit that with Representative Jurgens last year. If you'd like to come out, this building is in real need of repair, and these beds are really important. So I'd invite you to do that, either on the bonding tour or individually reach out to me, and I'd love to take you there. I think that the House and the Commissioner would love to host you.
Thank you, Representative Greenman. Next on the agenda, we have two bills for Representative Jordan. First up, House File 2675. Welcome, Representative, please proceed.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, which bill proposal is up first?
2675, Ukrainian Center.
Thank you, Chair Lee and members. I'm here to present a proposal for $1.8 million for the Ukrainian American Community Center. And this is the third smallest ask that you will hear today. And when this body unanimously voted to divest the state from Russia and Belarus, many of you asked me how we can do more. And as a state, we cannot send aid to Ukraine, but we can help our Ukrainian Minnesotans as they come to our state as refugees and wounded soldiers, or continue to support the community that has been part of Minnesota since statehood. The executive director wanted to be here with us today, but unfortunately he tested positive for COVID this morning. So instead I will read a portion of his testimony and attempt to answer questions. And I believe his testimony made it into members' packets. If not, there's some out there, and I'd be happy to supply President Jablonski's words. Good afternoon. I am Paul Jablonski. Imagine that I am a Ukrainian man, a first-generation American-Ukrainian Minnesotan, and the current volunteer president of the Ukrainian Center in Northeast Minneapolis, our community's cultural and youth center. The Ukrainian American Community Center was founded by our fathers and grandfathers who themselves were World War II refugees, coming to Minnesota starting in 1948 through the early 50s after spending years in displacement camps throughout Europe, wanting to start a life in a free, democratic country, since the Ukraine they knew was destroyed by the scorched earth policies of both the Nazis and Russians, and then under the oppressive Soviet Russian rule. There was no Ukraine to go back to. As part of a new life in Minnesota, they wanted to preserve their Ukrainian heritage and culture, to have a place for their children to grow up together and be connected to the Ukraine that they had left behind. For 15 years, they rented various old fraternal halls for that purpose. Before they felt as a refugee community, they had the financial strength to purchase the first Ukrainian Center in 1964. In 1982, the city of Minneapolis engaged in a lot of urban renewal, and so they moved the Ukrainian Center into our second location in Northeast Minneapolis along Main Street, where you can visit today. I hope you all will. Lent is an especially great time to come to Northeast Minneapolis because there are lots of great fish fries and pierogi feeds. But now we're facing the reality of an aged 41-year-old building in need of major capital repairs at a time when the need and usage of the building has rapidly increased due to the fallout from the war in Ukraine. Since February of 2022, the Ukrainian Center, as a 501c3 nonprofit, has taken on additional roles of becoming a hub for humanitarian aid for Ukraine, particularly for the much-needed medical supplies for civilians, and now as a hub for support and services for Ukrainian refugees and wounded soldiers coming to Minnesota seeking safety and shelter away from the war. The majority of them are mothers with children. We partner with the Department of Human Services, Department of Health, county and city refugee departments, and multiple independent refugee aid nonprofits like Lutheran Social Services, the International Institute of Minnesota, Minnesota Council of Churches, to provide various support services, educational classes, and Ukrainian community resources to help refugees, especially children, integrate into life in Minnesota. Since February of last year, an estimated 8,000 Ukrainian refugees now call Minnesota home. An average of 260 families arrive each month to Minnesota, and the great majority of them end up in the Twin Cities metro area, but almost every county in Minnesota now has a Ukrainian refugee family living there. from 2 families in Cook County, 23 in Roseau, to 6 families in Todd County, to 23 in Freeborn County. Major capital repairs for the Ukrainian Center include a new roof membrane, 13 new rooftop HVAC units, new flooring in the activities room, a new gym sports floor, small building expansion for storage, which would free up the existing rooms for activities, and a parking lot rebuild. There's a number of needs that need to happen for the Ukrainian Center to fulfill its needs, and there's more in the letter. I know we're running out of time, but as I said, many of you have asked what we can do for Ukraine. We can't send aid to Ukraine, but we can support our Ukrainian Minnesotans, and this is part of that. And so I would be happy to try to answer questions. I also know that President Jablonski would also be happy to answer questions and support a tour for members of this committee and this body generally as the request moves forward.
Seeing no question, closing comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think Paul said it all in his letter. I would actually direct people to this great article that was in the New York Times today. It's called From Combat to Ukraine, Rehab in Minnesota with No Time to Waste, about the great work that Minnesota is doing in rehabilitating wounded veterans coming from Ukraine in Oakdale. And there's a lot of really great pictures in there, and you can see members from the Ukrainian American Center welcoming these folks to Minnesota at the airport. So take a look at the Times today if you haven't already.
Thank you, Representative Jordan. Next on the agenda, House File 1046. Representative Jordan, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. As Eastside comes up, this is a proposal to provide $300,000 to Eastside Neighborhood Services Food Shelf. I know time is short, and if I detailed all of the work that Eastside does in my community, I would use all of your committee time and then some. So instead, I think we should just go to Mary to talk about the need for the food program.
Welcome. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you. I am Mary Ostapenko-Anstead. I am acting president of Eastside Neighborhood Services. I actually could have talked on the Ukrainian bill too, being a first-generation Ukrainian. So we're all in Northeast. Thank you, Chairman Lee and committee members, for allowing me to be here. Eastside Neighborhood Services has been serving Hennepin County, Northeast, Southeast, all of Hennepin County for over 108 years. Food support is a large portion of the work that we do. We really see that the threats to food security in our area are increasing and are always in the public eye. The price of food, gas, mechanical upkeep, along with staffing shortages have affected our food programs, of which we have 3. We have a senior food shelf, we have a brick and mortar senior food shelf, we have a culturally specific food shelf, and then we really have the most unique food delivery system that we believe in the state of Minnesota, that we go to 50 different locations that low-income senior and disabled adults live throughout Hennepin County, and we deliver food to them. We inherited an old building in the north warehouse area of the North Loop about 15 years ago. We built a functional food repository with cooler, freezer, dry dock, and loading dock. It also has a small space for volunteers to help pack and load food. The trucks are loaded and sent out to the 50 different locations on the mobile food program 4 days a week. The trucks deliver a small grocery store of food choices to the low-income high-rises in Hennepin County 2 times each month. We serve 4,000 older adults and are able to receive, or who are able to receive, about 1 million pounds of food each year through our 3 food programs. Many are able to keep buying the medicine and other food and other healthcare needs because they don't have to self-transport to a food shelf. They don't have to purchase a lot of their own foods. 42% of the food that we deliver is fresh fruits and vegetables. We currently face unattainable costs to keep the building from falling apart. Our solution is to sell the building and land and move the operation to our main campus in Northeast Minneapolis. We plan to retrofit a large section of our transportation garage space into a high-functioning food preparation space. In addition, we will transform more space into classroom and volunteer rooms. Our long-term vision is to broaden the focus of our food programs to include community engagement processes and integrate it with our youth education programs, workforce development efforts, and our community gardens. If awarded the $300,000, we plan to fundraise at least $600,000 more to support this vision and achieve a foundation for food security solutions that is intergenerational and cross-cultural. Thank you, Chairman Lee, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Closing comments, Representative Jordan.
It's a good bill. Mr. Chair, members, I hope it can find a place in future bonding bills. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Representative Franson, House File 2932. Welcome, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Before us, House File 2932 appropriates funding for the city of Carlos for a new fire hall. And with us, I have the fire chief, Mr. Steidel, from Carlos. He is on Zoom, if you don't mind letting him.
Welcome, Chief. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Colton Steidel, Carlos Fire Chief.
Please proceed.
We come with this from the city of, the project is for the city of Carlos Fire Hall and site construction. The request is for $2.43 million for the 2024 appropriations for design, engineering, and construction of the fire hall, building and site improvements as a grant to the city of Carlos. The Carlos firefighting equipment and vehicles are currently housed in 4 different locations throughout the community. We have 13 fire and rescue trucks with only 60% currently housed in our fire hall. We have having vital response trucks in 4 different locations is not efficient when your response time can mean life or death. One of these buildings is not properly heated, creating another layer of complexity. Not being heated is hard on equipment and requires us to move trucks around between buildings depending on the time of year to ensure that they do not freeze and that they start when needed. Our existing fire hall clearly is undersized to accommodate our fleet and in addition needs updating due to structural issues, mold, not being ADA accessible, poor storage with barely OSHA approved staircases. Restrooms are less than desirable. The meeting room is overly cluttered due to not enough storage. Limited technology, inadequate parking for volunteers when called to the fire, and limited space to dry a hose, and no proper way to wash or use turnout gear. It takes precious volunteer time to clean up after a call and make sure we are prepared for the next. When you do not have adequate space to complete these tasks, it all takes longer. We are a small community built on volunteers and pride. We are doing the best we can with the little we have, but truly need to update our fire hall to improve our response time and properly care for not only our equipment, but our volunteers and our community. With a small community comes limited funds, and building a sustainable fire hall will also properly adhere to newer building codes and structural expectations. Again, the estimated cost of our project is $3.04 million, and the appropriations request is $2.43 million. The city of Carlos has a population of 495 people and covers 0.45 square miles. The total Carlos Fire Department service area covers approximately 2,700 people and 8,500 square miles. Thank you for your time, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Closing comments, Representative Franson.
Thank you for your time, and you may see in the bill, the appropriation was $4 million, so I'm happy to see that the city of Carlos has whittled that dollar amount down just a little bit, so thank you.
Thank you, Representative Franson. Next up, we have 2 bills for Chair Howard. First up, House File 1105. Welcome, please proceed.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you. I'm thrilled to present a bill, House File, 1105, that will fund an innovative project that would help fill a crucial need for housing in our community and a crucial need specifically for veterans housing. Richfield's American Legion Post 435 has been a staple in our community for generations. It was chartered in 1927 and still has 700 active members, many who joined us today, and I want to recognize our post members. As you know, Legion posts across the state have struggled to stay afloat, and the property in Richfield has more than 6 million in maintenance needs. In search of a path forward, this site has we've worked with local leaders to create a vision called Veterans Village, a mixed-use project with nearly 200 units of housing with a post maintaining its presence on site. It's an incredible, innovative project, and I'll turn it over to my testifier to share more.
Welcome, please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Elwin Tinklenberg. I'm serving as a development consultant to Post 435. And I would like to recognize all of the folks who are here from the Post who have joined us today. As Chairman Howard has said, this is a really important part of the community. It's been there since 1927, over almost 100 years. And they were facing kind of the 3 Ds that are facing so many posts and veterans clubs around the state, the declining membership, diminishing resources, and a decaying building. And they were looking for a time at the possibility of having to sell that site, which would have just been a catastrophe for the community. It's been there, it's served the community in so many ways over so many years. And so as they thought about it, they decided that instead of giving in to that decay, they wanted to rebuild and develop it themselves and continue the service that they've provided to the community, especially in terms of expanding housing for veterans. And so that's the priority, what they've come up with, and you see the picture here to the side, is a proposed project that would have about 200 apartment units. 40 of those, or 20%, would be affordable at 50% of the area median income. They would all be subject to a veterans priority. The facility would also house offices and meeting space for the Post itself, so they could continue their presence on the site. And it would provide for public space as well that could be used as a community gathering spot for the Post and for the community inside of this. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the site, but it's an absolutely unique site. It's surrounded on one side by Veterans Memorial Park, and a big part of the design of this project will be its connection to the park and to the memorial that's there. It also has on one side 2 ice arenas that were developed by the city, and a large pool area and water slide, water park that's on the south side. So it's surrounded by community facilities, and this kind of housing fits in perfectly with what the surrounding area is. And so we think it makes a perfect project for the site. And I've just add as a final comment that, Mr. Chairman, the $10 million request represents 15% only of the total cost of over $67 million. And the balance of that is really the Post itself has taken on the risk of the mortgage for that, and they are committed to seeing this happen, and we need your support to finish it off.
Thank you. So Chair Howard, in the handout mentioned some in cash or GO bonds, and so if we were to do GO bonds, will the county or the city be the public owner of the housing?
Chair Lee, members of the committee, we've had a strong partnership with the city of Richfield in this project, and so I think as we proceed and look at what the legislation looks like and how it moves forward, the city of Richfield has been a strong local partner.
Thank you. Closing comments.
Just quickly, since I know we're kind of doing speed dating here with these bills, the only thing I wanted to add is when we heard this bill in Veterans Committee, we heard from members that had their own legions and really saw this as something that could become a model across the state to create a win-win where we're meeting community needs of housing and meeting the community needs of our veterans. I'm really proud that it's in our community, but hope that could be a model for legions all across the state. Thank you, Chair.
Next on the agenda, House File 2694. Chair Howard, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Lee. I am grateful to be here today presenting House File 2694. This bill provides funding for a permanent campus location for Minnesota Independence College and Community in Richfield. MICC provides life-changing services for their participants, and funding this project is critical to their ability to expand their programming to serve more young adults with autism and learning disabilities. For members that have heard from MICC in past years, you know that this is an amazing organization, a crown jewel in our state. And I'm happy to turn it over to my testifier to share a little bit more about this bill specifically.
Welcome, please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Chair Lee and members. My name is Ben Lentz. I'm the Director of Advancement for Minnesota Independence College and Community. Thank you for the time today to speak in favor of this project, which will create a permanent campus for MICC in Richfield. MICC is a 27-year-old nonprofit providing education and career training programming for emerging adults with autism and learning differences. The number of individuals in need of MICC's programming is greatly increasing. The Minnesota Department of Education reported that there has been a 138% increase since 2009 in the number of children diagnosed with autism receiving special education services within the public school system. This alarming increase, is compounded by the lack of services and resources for high school graduates with autism. In order to expand our facility and open new pathways to serve autistic and neurodivergent individuals, now is a critical time to fund this project. We are seeking just over $7 million in state funding to design, construct, and equip the first floor of the building for our operations and 8 two-bedroom teaching apartments, which will be used as MICC's campus. The cost of the entire program or project will be just under $35 million. In the documents before you, you will find the financial details for this request, more information about MICC, who we serve, and our results. Additionally, there's a letter of support from the city of Richfield, which has been a great partner as we've explored this option. Thank you again for your time. I greatly appreciate it, and would take any questions if you have them.
Representative Scraba.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The graduates from here, do they move on to a four-year, or are they placed in jobs? And how many of those jobs are metro-centered and outstate? And trying to get a feel for what your purpose is. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Director.
Chair Lee, Representative, great question. Our graduates tend to live right in the immediate area where our programming has taught them to learn independent living skills, public transit, and they're finding jobs that are competitive employment. They're not placed anywhere. They go out and they work into the marketplace. We partner with different businesses to be able to help them understand what it means to employ individuals with disabilities. And so within the Bloomington, Edina, Richfield area, a majority of our graduates are choosing to be there. We do see it as success, though, if they choose to live somewhere else and they go out. But a majority of our graduates during those 27 years have remained in Richfield and are very active and great members of Representative Howard's community.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, closing comments, Chair Howard.
Chair Lee, members, and thanks for the question, Representative Scraba. I'll mention too that the job placement success rate the percentage I've heard, Mr. Lentz can correct me wrong, is something approaching of 98, 99, 100%. I mean, this program works and helps students with learning disabilities find a path. It's incredible life-changing work, and I'm grateful that the time of the committee to consider this request.
Thank you, Chair Howard. Next on the agenda, we have Chair Nelson, House File 64. Welcome, and please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. House File 64 is a request for funding from Hennepin County for an anaerobic digester. What this is going to be used for is to take the organics out of the waste stream, thereby reducing the amount of waste that would go to landfills or the garbage burner, and take that as a compost, or as it biodegrades, it creates methane, capturing that methane or biogas, using that as an energy source, and then the rest of it, compost that's left over, use that as a fertilizer. And I have Commissioner Fernando with me here to describe the project.
Welcome, Commissioner. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Chair Lee and members, thank you for the opportunity to testify on House File 64. And thanks to Representative Nelson for carrying this bill. I'm Commissioner Irene Fernando. I use she, her pronouns and represent District 2, which includes Plymouth, Medicine Lake, Golden Valley, St. Anthony Village, and Minneapolis. I'm the first Filipino American elected in Minnesota. I'm the youngest woman to serve on the Hennepin County Board, and I'm the first person of color to serve as board chair since our founding in 1852. I'm here really excited to share about Hennepin's commitment to achieving zero waste and climate action for the benefit of current generations and future generations. Preventing food waste and keeping organics out of the trash by developing the infrastructure for processing organics is a foundational strategy in the county's climate action plan, as well as our draft zero waste plan. Anaerobic digestion is a proven technology that transforms organics into renewable energy and nutrient-rich products, meaning we're able to both reduce the material entering the waste stream while also turning that organic matter into two valuable outputs, biogas and digestate. Biogas can ultimately be used as electricity or heat by utility companies, residents, and organizations, while digestate can be used as a fertilizer, crop irrigation, or can be made into other products. The proposed location of our anaerobic digestion facility is adjacent to the county's Brooklyn Park Transfer Station, where we are already accepting organics. The new facility will provide additional processing capacity that would benefit the entire region, because currently there are only 2 composting sites in the entire metro area, and they're operating at near full capacity. Our facility will add significant processing capacity in the North Metro and free up capacity in the South Metro for other communities who are beginning to grow their own organic recycling programs. In addition to helping Hennepin and the state achieve our zero waste goals, the facility will also create green jobs, and with Hennepin Technical College nearby, we'll be able to explore opportunities for green jobs training. We'll have a visitor center where students can learn about what happens to the organics they collect at school and how compost can be used to grow healthy local food. Organics recycling is our biggest opportunity to reduce our trash and entering our waste stream. State bonding for this project will help us build the infrastructure to make progress toward our zero waste and climate action goals while also advancing environmental justice. Please invest in current and future generations by supporting this important regional infrastructure. Chair members, thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Commissioner. Representative Carroll.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank Chair Fernando for coming here and for Representative Nelson for reading this bill. You've been a great leader on the board, and congratulations on your elevation to the chairpersonship. And let me just say that I appreciate the county's leadership in advancing organics. When I was on the Plymouth City Council, we were starting to have to address that. There were squabbles about it, but I said that the Wayzata School District is a leader. Our kids are already doing organics recycling in school. And so they were teaching us, and it's really not that hard. So thank you very much for your efforts on this.
Chair Nelson, any closing comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. And this is a great way to capture the methane that's generated when garbage decomposes, and turning that into a fuel that we can use, taking it out of the atmosphere. And methane is one of the most or the worst part for global warming. So we're taking it out of the air and using that. It's a dual purpose, plus reducing our waste and going into landfills.
Thank you, Chair Nelson. Next on the agenda, we have 2 bills for Representative Norris. First up, House File 760. Welcome, Representative Norris. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Lee and members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to present House File 760, which provides general obligation bonds for the Highway 65 corridor. Mr. Chair, I want to begin by thanking you and Lead Erdahl for your continued support of this project over many years. Additionally, I want to thank my colleagues, Representative West and Representative Cagle, who have been consistent leaders and advocates for this critical funding. And I also want to thank Senator Kroon, who is joining us today. I think it shows the importance of this project that we've even got a senator over here in a House conference room. So there are so many reasons why this project should be an urgent priority, not just for Blaine, but for the state of Minnesota. This is a state road that is the main route leading to the National Sports Center, a state facility that's the 2nd largest tourist attraction in the state of Minnesota. It also serves as the gateway to cabin country. Yet it's the most dangerous stretch of roadway in the metro. It's almost always congested. In fact, it's got the same amount of traffic as the parallel stretch of 35W, but with stoplights every half mile to mile. It also divides our community, with residents terrified to cross it by car, let alone on foot or bike, which creates a real equity issue. And this has gone unaddressed for decades. In fact, in our local paper, we have a looking back section where they reprint articles from the past. And recently, there was one titled, Highway 65 Meeting Had Everyone on the Same Page. And our former mayor said, we all agree that this needs to happen. It needs to happen as soon as possible. The date on that article? February 28th, 2003. The plan that we're bringing forward makes this road safer and less congested while promoting bike and pedestrian safety and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I'm pleased to welcome Mayor of Blaine, Tim Sanders, and a former House member to testify more about this project with Mr. Dan Schluender, Blaine City Engineer, available to answer questions as well.
Welcome, Mr. Mayor. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, committee. I am Tim Sanders, Mayor of the City of Blaine. I want to thank you all for hearing this House file today. It's urgent. It's very important. I do want to start out by thanking Representative Norris for your strong advocacy on this bill, as well Representative West, Representative Cagle. I don't think we'd be in this position without their work over the years. But this is a critically urgent House file for us, Mr. Chair. And I want to thank you, especially Mr. Chair and Lead Erdahl. You've given this conversation a lot of attention over the years. You brought your committee to Blaine. You've met with us. I think as the article states that Representative Norris laid out, everyone agrees that this project needs to happen. And I think the timing is critical. As Representative Norris said, this isn't a Blaine project. This is a state project. It's a state trunk highway. We are happy to work with Anoka County, with MnDOT, to what we think arrive at the best design alternative possible to bring our city together to make it bike and pedestrian friendly. Right now, it is nearly impossible to walk along or bike across Trunk Highway 65. It does divide our city. It completely divides our community, especially from those that are maybe economically disadvantaged from the resources that are on the eastern side of Trunk Highway 65. So this is something that, in this, when we look at this now, we feel like if it's not now, when? We've been talking about this project for so long. Mr. Chair, you've been so gracious in keeping this conversation going. But we're asking this committee to partner with the City of Blaine and Anoka County MnDOT. Help us make our roads safer. We have 3 of the top 10 worst intersections for crashes along this stretch. We're 8 times higher for fatal and severe injury accidents. In fact, last fall, we had a fatality at one of these intersections, which would be impossible if we were to make these upgrades. It was a T-bone accident that killed a mom on our way home from work. Impossible with the new design alternative. So we want to thank you all for this. Again, we're standing here ready to answer any questions. We appreciate the time, the urgency, and the dedication that you've given to this project. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. Representative West.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for bringing this bill forward. This is incredibly important. The National Sports Center has over 4 million visitors a year. When the USA Cup is in town, over 1,000 soccer teams from dozens of countries. And then their first experience coming here is to sit in traffic on Highway 65. It's a bad look for our state. It's a bad look for our city. The local governments, the county and the city have already scrounged up 20.2% of the $163 million needed. So the city's incredibly invested, working hard. But those grants that they've acquired also do expire. So we can't just keep kicking this down the road. This is something that needs to be done right away. And based on the bonding bill not advancing in the Senate, if we do a full cash bonding bill, that eliminates a lot of the rules around general obligation bonds. That opens up a lot of flexibility to where there's no reason that this should not be included in any sort of package. Blaine's the 10th biggest city in the state with over 70,000 people. And if we're not going to do it now with a $20 billion budget surplus, I think there'll be a riot in the city of Blaine, and a well-deserved one at that. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative West. Closing comments, Representative Norris.
Thank you, Chair Lee. I think you've heard loud and clear that this is an urgent priority for our community. It's not just about convenience, it's about safety, it's about equity, it's about reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And I think this is a project that has been decades in the making, and it's finally time that we get it done.
Thank you, Representative Norris. Next up, House File 587, Please proceed, Representative Norris.
All right. Switching gears, Mr. Chair. I now appreciate the opportunity to present House File 587, which provides general obligation bonds for an adaptive sports complex and rugby center at the National Sports Center. As you've heard just a little bit about in the previous presentation, the National Sports Center is the world's largest amateur sports complex. It's a 700-acre campus with 60 soccer fields. It's got the second largest ice arena in the world. It's got basketball and volleyball courts, a golf course, baseball and soccer fields. It attracts 4 million visitors a year from all over the world. It's home to the largest soccer tournament in the Western Hemisphere and serves as the training facility for the U.S. Olympic women's hockey team and the Minnesota United FC. Yet, there are very few facilities at the NSC committed to adaptive sports. This proposal aims to change that. It would build Minnesota's first athletic facility designed from the ground up to be barrier-free for adaptive athletes, their caregivers, families, and fans. It's designed in conjunction with Rugby Unified, and it would also create fields specifically designed for rugby to expand the types of national and international tournaments that the Sports Center can host. We're asking for $31.7 million to build this vision, which includes adaptive and non-adaptive locker rooms, training rooms, viewing and gathering spaces, as well as artificial turf fields and scoreboards, along with water, sewer, and electrical utilities. Not only will this project allow the NSC to better serve Minnesotans of all abilities, it will drive economic impact by attracting adaptive athletes and rugby players from around the world to our great state. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'm proud to welcome Barb Fugate, USA Rugby Hall of Famer and Rugby World Cup American gold medalist, to describe more about the project.
Welcome, you have 2 minutes. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Barb Fugate. I'm a Bloomington resident. Thank you, Representative Norris. So why rugby and why here? What you may not yet know about rugby is that it is truly everyone's game. It's played by more than 10 million people across the world in 123 countries. And all rugby players across the world share the same ethos, which is one of selflessness. No successful rugby player can be there without being a great teammate. You can't do anything alone in our game, which is what we love about it. And we share that ethos of selflessness with our wheelchair rugby teammates, in particular with our wheelchair rugby teammate Joe Delagrave, who is a local as well. He's the head coach of the USA Rugby national wheelchair rugby team. And in working with Joe, what we've learned is that there currently is no integrated barrier-free competition venue for adaptive sports in the country. By integrated, we mean men and women, athletes of all ages, athletes of all physical abilities, and adaptive sports beyond wheelchair rugby, including wheelchair basketball, power hockey, Paralympic volleyball, and more. This entire community is underserved. We will build a barrier-free facility for all of these athletes, including for their caregivers, for their families, and their fans. This venue is for them. We also know that here in Minnesota, we have almost 80 outdoor rugby teams of all ages, youth all the way through college, senior, up through elite and international, the highest levels of play. From youth sides in Albert Lea and Mankato, Faribault, Rochester, Duluth, throughout the Twin Cities, and at small college campuses across Minnesota, there are men's and women's rugby teams. And still, in the state of Minnesota, there is one dedicated permanent rugby pitch. So this venue is also for them. And why here? Well, 3 years ago, when we started working with the staff of the National Sports Center on the details of this proposal for those 16 unallocated acres, they encouraged us to think big, along the lines of that USA Cup for Soccer, which you've heard about. Every country that sends soccer teams to the USA Cup for Soccer has rugby teams to send. This venue will be fully self-supporting in terms of operating expenses and in terms of maintenance costs. We're asking for your support for one-time funding to create this world-class, barrier-free venue, serving currently underserved communities of athletes and inviting the world to Minnesota. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Representative Norris. Next on the agenda, House File 1211, Representative Smith. So members, we are running a little bit short on time, and so I ask you all to keep your opening remarks concise so that your testifiers could go ahead. Please proceed.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee for hearing this bill. So this bill specifically, House File 1211, would allow us as a city to move the current facilities for the Parks Department that are in a downtown residential area and specifically in a lower income area of the city of Rochester near the downtown into a non-residential area outside of our downtown area and not near other housing as well. The facility right now is what we use for our entire Parks Department. I took a tour of this facility and it absolutely needs to be upgraded. There's literally one little area where trucks can get in the winter. They have to go one at a time. I think we have 80 trucks, something along those lines, that have to one at a time every day go in and one at a time out. And the reason for that is this is an old facility. It was built in the 1960s when President Eisenhower was in the White House. And our city population at that time was 40,000. Rochester is now the second largest metropolitan area in Minnesota with a population over 120,000. So since this has been open, we have grown basically the size of Duluth and have not updated our facilities. So I'm excited about this. I could talk a long time, but I know we are running behind. I don't have a gold medalist, but I do have our city council president, Brooke Carlson, here.
Welcome, identify yourself and proceed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chair Lee, Vice Chair Reyer, and Lead Erdahl, and all of your time today. I am pleased to be here with Representative Smith. I am Council President of Rochester, Brooke Carlson. So we are very excited about this opportunity in House File 1211 to better serve our visitors, residents, and the region. Our Parks Department has worked hard with what they have and what they've been given, but this current facility is grossly inadequate for our current and future workforce, vehicle storage and maintenance needs, and operational efficiencies needed in our growing region. Having this parks function move to an existing public works area, maintenance area elsewhere would allow use of existing infrastructure rather than building additional fueling bays. We can also capitalize on investments and efficiencies for our electric vehicle charging and maintenance apparatus. Limited space options currently exist for injury prevention exercises, and there is only one locker room, which is also located as the main thoroughfare into the garage bays. As we are a growing city of over 120,000 and seek to diversify our team of parks employees, having suitable space for all teammates is very important. The current facility has only one vehicle entrance and exit that is shared with the Mayo Field, which is home of the Northwoods League Honkers baseball team. Combined with the limited vehicle storage space, this creates an inefficient bottleneck at the start and ends of shifts. And from a regional perspective, we provide service to 3 state-designated regional parks in the city of Rochester, and just a thank you to this committee and many of you for your previous investments, including Cascade Regional Park, which is right by my home and well-loved by my family, as well as Game Haven. We provide regional services to 80 acres of trails owned by Olmsted County. We participate in mutual aid agreements with our nearby communities, partner with neighboring cities on regional recreation parks, and assist with regional approaches to hazardous materials management. We also host 100 miles of trails, 142 park areas with more than 5,000 acres of parks, which includes 82 playgrounds used by visitors and residents from the region. In closing, we humbly but enthusiastically ask for the committee's support and consideration of this $17.5 million request, which is half the project cost, so we are matching the other cost with additional sources of funding as you assemble the bonding bill this session. So grateful for your time. Back to you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Representative Bierman, House File 1351. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members. The bonding request before you today would add a skyway over one of the busiest on-grade intersections in the state. 9 lanes of traffic without a stoplight. To tell us more, we have with us today the Honorable Mayor of Apple Valley, Mayor Clint Hoopaw.
Welcome, Mayor. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Good afternoon, Chair Lee and House Capital Investment Committee members. Good afternoon and greetings on behalf of the City of Apple Valley. I am Clint Hoopaw, and have had the privilege of serving as the mayor of Apple Valley, a community of 56,000 people located in the South Metro. I'm here today to speak in favor of House File 1351, a bill authored by our own state representative, Robert Bierman. I thank him for his support of the bill and ask for your support as well. This bill would remedy a significant pedestrian safety issue in the busy downtown area of Apple Valley. This area is a bustling employment and activity center. It's home to about 9,400 jobs and more on the way. Since the opening of the Cedar Avenue Transitway in 2011, we've seen over $380 million in private investment and development around that corridor. Currently, traffic volumes on Cedar Avenue are near 50,000 cars per day, and trying to cross this roadway requires you contend with 9 lanes of traffic, as Robert mentioned. Unfortunately, we've had already 1 pedestrian fatality in this area. We need to find a better way to blend all those modes of transportation, cars, buses, bicycles, wheelchairs, pedestrians, and more, in a safe and effective way. Thankfully, there's an easy fix to this problem. The 147th Street Skyway Transit Stop was built to easily accommodate the installation of a skyway. The tall towers that you see along the roadway today were purposely built to allow for the installation of the skyway. Elevators and enclosed stairwells on both sides will connect the skyway and provide a safe crossing for those with all abilities. Motorists also benefit from this. Car, bus, and truck safety will move more freely and safely when there is less conflicting movement from crossing pedestrians and bicyclists. The installation of the skyway at 147th Street Transit Stop is an important building block to keep our residents safe, our businesses strong, and community connected. Thank you again for your consideration of this bill.
Thank you, Mayor. So I see in the language saying that there's no non-state contribution, and so is the total project the 7.756 million?
Correct, Robert?
No, Mr. Chair, the total cost is over 8 million. We're asking for half of that, so 50%.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Representative Bierman. Next on the agenda, why don't we go with Representative Bliss, House File 1735, Representative Bliss. Welcome, Representative Bliss. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Committee. The bill will fund a new hospital nursing home in Mahnomen, Minnesota. It'll replace a facility that was built in 1957. It's owned by Mahnomen County and City in a joint board. It serves an area that's located at the heart of the White Earth Indian Reservation. And to describe this request, I have Mahnomen County Administrator and Hospital Administrator Dale Kruger to give testimony.
Welcome. Please identify yourself. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Committee. My name is Dale Kruger, the CEO of Mahnomen Health Center. Mahnomen Health Center is 100% within the White Earth Indian Reservation and is the only hospital and nursing home on the reservation. We're a 10-bed critical access hospital and a 32-bed nursing home that dates back to 1957. We're an active trauma and stroke accredited hospital. We provide inpatient swing bed, outpatient ER, and skilled nursing services. Mahnomen is a poorest county in Minnesota with 50% of the Native American population below poverty level and overall 23% of the population significantly below poverty level. Mahnomen Health Center averages 3,500 ER encounters annually, and air ambulances come to our ER on average 3 times per week to transport patients to a larger tertiary hospital. It's important to keep healthcare in Mahnomen. The next nearest hospital is 40 miles away, and many of these patients would not have lived if Mahnomen Health Center was not here and they needed to go to the next nearest hospital. Many family members and friends also do not have the means to reach other cities to visit patients and residents due to lack of vehicles or gas money. This also would increase the depression in nursing home residents and the senior population. There's a brochure included with your information, but some of the current building failures include that we are past end of life for our hot and cold water systems, our sewer systems, HVAC, electrical service, ventilation, roofing, windows, and lighting. 4 residents share 1 toilet room with no hand washing available in the toilet room. Toilet rooms are inadequately sized, so residents in wheelchairs or walkers cannot use a toilet room and must use a commode in their room. There's 1 tub and 1 shower available for all 32 residents, which is also an infection prevention issue. There are no ADA restrooms for staff and visitors and no negative airflow in the structure. The structure and hallways are not built to accommodate the equipment of today's healthcare. The current design does not allow for safety and security for our most vulnerable population. As stated, MHCER, we see about 3,500 patients per year, and many of these patients are challenged with behavioral health issues, drug and alcohol addictions, domestic violence, and other law enforcement challenges. Due to design, there's no way to keep our current residents and inpatients safe from the ER population. The current estimated price tag has increased from $30 million to $40 million, with the county and city bonding for $10 million. The total project is beyond the bonding capacity for Mahnomen County, which means that if Mahnomen County bonded for the project, the county could do no more capital improvements within the county for the next 30 to 40 years. High medical assistance usage in our county equates to reimbursement that does not cover the costs. High self-pay relates to high bad debts. Minnesota hospitals average bad debts at about 2%. We average nearly 10% in bad debts. Building inefficiencies can create infections and lead to poor outcomes for patients and residents. Patients, residents, and staff should not have to adapt routines to meet the inefficiencies of a building. The building must meet the needs of our current and future generations. We've already spent over $360,000 preparing and planning for the project and are shovel-ready. This is a life and death situation, and this project will save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Bliss. Next on the agenda, we have Representative Sencer-Mura, House File 1357. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Lee and committee members. My name is Samantha Sencer-Mura. I'm the state representative for District 63A in South Minneapolis. I'm happy to be here today to talk to you about House File 1357, which provides funding for Pangea Theater. Pangea Theater has been around in Minneapolis for almost 30 years, and I have a very personal connection to this theater. I was in one of their productions when I was a young person, so I know intimately the beautiful and community building work that they do. The new theater that they are proposing, which would be the first time that they will actually have a physical home for the amazing work that they do in the community, is set to be built right in the heart of South Minneapolis, close to the intersection of Hiawatha and Lake Street, Minnehaha and Lake Street, very close to where a lot of the civil unrest after the uprising, after the murder of George Floyd was. It's a space in my community that is really in need of some positive development, and so I am really excited to be supporting this project. With that, I will turn it over to my testifier.
Welcome, please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Meena Natarajan, and I am the co-founder and artistic director of Pangea World Theater. Pangea World Theater is a 27-year-old organization committed to illuminating the human condition and unifying people of different backgrounds through art. As a leader in inclusiveness and equity, with a deep commitment to nurturing artists of color, Pangea's multidisciplinary theater performances and arts-based community engagements transcend borders, bringing audiences together at the intersection of politics, art, and human rights to explore the relevant, often divisive themes of our times: exile, immigration, human rights, political repression, race relations, freedom, and cross-cultural expression. We engage with 250 artists a year and serve 10,000 people annually. We live and work on Lake Street. Following the civil unrest after the murder of George Floyd, Pangea World Theater formed innovative community partnerships in the heart of the Longfellow neighborhood in Minneapolis. As you know, much of our Longfellow business district was lost in fires during the protest. Pangea has worked with partners to identify a location, develop a business and development plan, and we have a location identified at 3032 Minnehaha Avenue near East Lake Street and Minnehaha Avenue. We've been working with the McKnight Foundation, the Mellon Foundation, the Ford Foundation, and other partners on the local and construction plan, and we've been recognized as one of 10 regional cultural treasures in the state of Minnesota by McKnight and Ford Foundations. The construction of a permanent home for Pangea will serve as a community cornerstone for renewing the Longfellow Business District, including a 250-seat theater, community kitchen and event spaces, cafe, rehearsal, theater workshop space, and a public plaza, space for artists and organizations to work in daily, and an education space for youth and adults. It will excite development, investment, and renewal right off of Lake Street in the heart of the Longfellow neighborhood. We've submitted a background document for the committee to review, and we're requesting $8 million of design and construction for this new facility, for which the total project cost is $16 million. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify today. Thank you, Representative Sencer-Mura.
Thank you, Representative Sencer-Mura. Thank you, Director. Next on the agenda, House File 2594, Representative Sencer-Mura.
Thank you. I am happy to be here today presenting House File 2594, which would be an appropriation to the Mni Sota Fund. The Mni Sota Fund is looking to build a permanent headquarters on the American Indian Cultural Corridor, which runs on Franklin Avenue in my district. The new headquarters will house community classrooms, office space for the team, and a small business incubator for Native-owned businesses. This project and getting a permanent space will really increase their ability to build intergenerational wealth in the American Indian community. And with that, I will turn it over to my testifier.
Welcome. Please identify yourself. Proceed.
Thank you. I'm Kit Fordham, Executive Director of Mni Sota Fund. It's an honor to be here today. Mni Sota Fund is a Native community development finance institution. We're seeking $1 million cash appropriation for our $2.3 million project. We have a purchase agreement for the property at 2301 East Franklin Avenue. As a CDFI, what we focus on is building intergenerational wealth. We do this through our business lab that provides technical assistance to Native entrepreneurs. We also do first-time home buying classes and one-on-one coaching, along with financial wellness programming. We also operate our loan fund, which does both consumer loans, credit enhancement loans, and business loans. Happy to answer any questions.
No questions. Thank you. Thank you, Representative Sencer-Mura. Thank you, Director. Next on the agenda, House File 1869, Representative Rehm. And Representative Rehm, I see that you have an A1 amendment, so can you describe the A1 amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. It's a very simple amendment. Page 1, line 8, delete one or more grants, insert grant, and then after the comma on page 1, line 12, it inserts public indoor space for farmers markets.
Sounds good. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. I am pleased to present House File 1869, the Regional City Square West project located in the city of Chaska. And I know you have a short schedule here. I have Councilmember Taylor Hubbard and our city manager to testify here. I'm just going to start out by saying I did meet with the mayor and the city manager a few months ago, and the word I came out of that meeting thinking about was paseo, which is a very wide walking space for leisurely strolls at night. And I will hand over the testimony then to Ms. Taylor Hubbard.
Welcome, council member. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Hubbard, and I am a council member for the city of Chaska. With me is Matt Podorowski, Chaska City Administrator. Thank you, Chairperson Lee, and members of this committee for this opportunity. We also appreciate this committee site visit in October of 2021. Also, thank you, Representative Rehm, for your support. The City Square West project is the redevelopment of an entire block in historic downtown Chaska. This block was identified during our 2012 downtown master planning process as a key catalyst site to help revitalize this once thriving regional commercial center. When completed, City Square West will be a mixed-use project with 120 high-quality residential units, in which 20% will be affordable to those earning 50% area median income or less, new commercial spaces, a signature public paseo that is pedestrian-friendly, a mid-block pathway connecting people to downtown destinations, a 1-acre programmable public plaza that will include public restrooms and storage to support year-round activities and events, a mercado that will be a new indoor farmers market creating a hub for existing minority-owned vendors, an arts center for the Carver County Arts Consortium, underground public parking to support the overall business district, and upgraded adjacent city streets. The benefits of City Square West redevelopment project are many. First, it is of regional significance. The improvements will expand downtown Chaska's regional draw. The Chaska Curling Center and Fireman's Park redevelopment demonstrate what high-quality public spaces do to attract people from all over the region, state, and country into our historic downtown. The City Square West block builds on this energy by creating a year-round programmed events such as holiday markets, concerts, and special events that have helped Chaska become a regional entertainment destination. Second is to improve pedestrian safety. The Paseo creates a safe, mid-block alternative to walking along Highway 41, connecting pedestrians to destinations throughout downtown Chaska, including connecting to the Minnesota River Bluff Regional Trail, which goes to downtown Minneapolis. And last, it will serve our growing Hispanic community. Our Hispanic population, many of whom are business owners, has increased substantially. The Mercado creates an affordable space to create and grow these businesses. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here today, and we are happy to answer any questions you may have.
So this may be to the city managers. I see here the breakdown of the funding. Are you able to prioritize this list for us if we can't do the full 25? If we were to consider portion of this, if you could put it in priority order for us?
Yeah, we could get back to you with the priority order of the list if that pleases you.
Okay, and then can you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yep, City Manager Matt Podorowski.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Representative Rehm. Next, House File 1943, Chair Noor. Welcome and please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present House File 1943. This is the Cedar Riverside Recreation Center. Mr. Chair and members, this is an overdue project. This discussion started more than 20 years ago, and we got the project pre-designed more than 10 years ago. And today we are here before you to ask for the funding for this center. This center is located in Cedar Riverside, which has got the highest concentration within the state of Minnesota in a small block area, with more than 4,000 children in that small block area, with also the highest poverty in the whole state when you look at as a zip code. So this is creating an equity in place whereby we're providing a center through the Minnesota Parks and Recreational Board so that we can allow those kids to grow in a place where they can have a gym, including kids who are autistic, so that they can have a place where they can have a sensory gym and they can enjoy their time in a space within close to their neighborhood. It also provides a place for education, wellness, health, and everything else that we can provide in that small area. Mr. Chair and members, I have a testifier who will walk us through the bill.
Welcome, please identify yourself and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the time today to speak on House File 1943, which seeks $20 million for the Cedar Riverside Recreation Center. My name is Daniel Elias, and I am a design project manager with the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board. Our Board of Commissioners approved the pre-design for this project in July of 2021, working with our partners at Pillsbury United Communities, Augsburg University, the YMCA of the Greater Twin Cities, mHealth Fairview, and the Cedar Riverside Partnership. This project envisions an accessible and inclusive 46,000 square foot recreation and community center focused on providing a variety of programming opportunities for the diverse and growing Cedar Riverside neighborhood with the goal of cultivating healthy lifestyles, personal enrichment, and community building. The new recreation center is visioned to include expanded gym space with an elevated walking track, a food shelf, a computer tech center, child sitting opportunities, a teen activity center, fitness space, and a health and wellness suite. As Representative Noor mentioned, the Cedar Riverside neighborhood consists of approximately 9,000 people, with over 72% of that population being people of color. The median household income is just over $30,000, and 48% of the population in this neighborhood lives below the poverty line. There is a large youth population as well. 55% of the residents are under the age of 24. Additionally, over 19% of the residents are people with disabilities. Cedar Riverside is also considered to be one of the densest residential communities outside of downtown Minneapolis, with those 9,000 residents living within a half square mile neighborhood. With the new building planned for a location outside of Curry Park, the existing Brian Coyle Community Center can remain in service during construction, allowing for a continuity of the existing services not typically available during a project of this type. Upon completion of the new building, The Coyle Center would be removed and the adjacent Curry Park would be expanded from about 2.7 acres to 4.5 acres in a part of Minneapolis that lacks easy access to nature. Pillsbury United Community specifically will be a key partner and social service provider within the new center. We estimate an overall project cost of $34 million in 2023 construction dollars, with Senator Dietzick and Representative Noor working to seek federal matching funds. The Park Board is committed to providing the necessary additional funding, as are the various neighborhood partners. With your help, the Park Board hopes to build a state-of-the-art center in the heart of Minneapolis that can bring pride and joy to both the long-term and transient residents of this neighborhood. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chair Noor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have two bills for Vice Chair Reyer. First up, House File 2578. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Lee and members. House File 2578 appropriates $50 million to repair and update the state's public water accesses, otherwise known as PWAs. This request is also part of the Governor's Get Out More initiative, and I'll turn it over to Laura Price, DNR member of the State Parks and Trails, to provide an overview of the funding request.
Welcome. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Mr. Chair, members, my name is Laura Preuss. I'm a DNR section manager with the Parks and Trails Division. I'd like to share DNR's support of this bill. With more than 2.5 million acres of rivers and lakes, we are a water recreation state. Recreational boating is a $3.1 billion economic engine in the state. Many businesses and jobs depend on the public water access infrastructure to serve boaters, paddlers, anglers, and riparian residents. DNR operates and maintains about 1,700 public water access sites, or PWAs. Many of these PWAs have old infrastructure and they're in need of significant rehabilitation and modernization. They're simply not keeping pace. Climate change impacts associated with freeze-thaw cycles have also put a lot of pressure on the system. In addition, in recent years, we've seen extremely high demand on these systems, especially early in the spring and late in the fall, as many boaters are wanting to get out on the water or near the water. This funding would be used to design and provide improvements to these accesses in partnership with local government and tribal partners, with the goal really to help these sites become welcoming accesses for everyone. We want to make it easy and safe to get out on the water. Also, better serving people of all abilities by upgrading facilities with universal design principles that meet or exceed ADA standards. Also, a goal is to help protect the environment with these modernized PWAs, to help prevent the spread of AIS, aquatic invasive species, by adding boat cleaning and drain areas, protecting water quality with stormwater runoff strategies, and also enhancing habitat for pollinators, fish, wildlife that incorporate native vegetation along shorelines. In sum, the funding will benefit boaters, anglers, and paddlers by providing better services, such as really the fundamental basic needs for these PWAs around docks to aid launching and landing, spaces for toilets and parking lots, multiple and longer launch lanes, safe spaces to clean off AIS and locations for cleaning tools to be installed, and lighting as needed. So really basic needs to serve our boaters for our great water recreation state. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Scrava.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Being from an area that has hundreds, perhaps thousands of these, one of the issues that comes up every year is the commercial access, the folks that use these commercially, like for barges or for constant use to do other commercial business. Is there anything in the future trying to get a fee or a use or something? Because I've watched a barge wreck a landing. They go in and fix them themselves. You know, they have a deal with the local. But I'm just wondering, is there something more concrete than just the local deals, or if you can incorporate something in it? I've seen it for 20 years now, and it's just time something got more solidified, that's all.
Manager Prius.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members, thank you for the comment, and we appreciate your paying attention to those trends. Those are some things that we want to pay attention to as well. And so yes, we are trying to understand what is happening out, what are the stresses on the system. Would be happy to connect with you to talk about that further.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Reyer. Next up, House File 751, Representative Reyer.
Chair Lee and members, I'm pleased to have the opportunity to present House File 751, a bill that would appropriate $7 million to acquire lands for scientific and natural areas, aquatic management areas, and wildlife management areas under the Department of Natural Resources. These programs provide increased protection of Minnesota's sensitive lands, waterways, and wildlife habitat, while also ensuring that these lands remain accessible to all Minnesotans for various forms of outdoor recreation, education, and research. Additionally, science shows that land protection is a key strategy to meeting our state's carbon sequestration goals, preserving biodiversity, and protecting clean water. With that, I'd like to introduce Steve Chaplin from the Nature Conservancy to explain more about the bill.
Welcome, please identify yourself, proceed.
Good afternoon, Chairman Lee and committee members. My name is Steve Chaplin, and I am the Prairie Conservation Coordinator at the Nature Conservancy. This bill includes bonding support for 3 programs in the Department of Natural Resources that protect sensitive land and provide multiple benefits for water quality, wildlife, and climate resilience. These lands are open to members of the public for outdoor recreation opportunities. First, scientific and natural areas, or SNAs, protect lands with outstanding ecological features vital for maintaining genetic diversity and preventing the loss of important species, communities, and features. As wildlife and plant species migrate northward in the state, these are important resiliency habitats that help support continued survival of threatened species and can be part of corridors that facilitate the northerly movement of species in the face of climate change. Second, aquatic management areas, also known as AMAs, protect land or easements in shoreline areas like lakes, rivers, streams, and adjacent wetlands. They also protect lands that are habitat for fish and other aquatic life, for water quality, for fishing, public fishing, or for other compatible outdoor recreation. They are important in offering public access for fishing on lands that perhaps would not be available otherwise. Third, wildlife management areas, or WMAs, are lands that have high value for wildlife production and are open to public hunting, fishing, trapping, and other recreational uses. WMAs support unique habitats, wildlife, and game-based tourism across the state. Now, this bill and these programs are part of a larger set of natural climate solutions that the Nature Conservancy is advocating for this session. We have a great opportunity to sequester carbon through programs like these, in addition to providing multiple benefits for water quality, soil health, wildlife habitat, outdoor recreation, and rural economies. The natural climate solutions are bipartisan and widely supported by Minnesotans. A handout outlining bills containing other natural climate solutions the committee may consider is available in your packets. Thank you for your consideration, and thank you to Representative Reyer for bringing this important proposal forward.
Thank you. Quick closing comments, Representative Reyer.
Appreciate the consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Reyer. Representative Erdahl,
I'm just sitting here.
you don't have anything to ask before we adjourn?
Oh, you got 2 minutes? You want me to give a speech?
Speech.
All right, so, see,
No, thanks, Mr. Chairman, I don't have any. Oh,
Okay.
I guess, actually, I could, as I think about it. I've been mentally looking at some projects here, and, I mean, we probably just looked at $500 million worth of stuff or more.
358 million.
How much?
359 million.
Well, that's a lot cheaper than I thought today, but it'd be interesting to figure all this out. What is your thoughts going forward? I mean, is this all going into amendments to the bill that we're currently working on? Or is this going to be are we working for next year's bill? What are we doing right now?
thank you, Representative Erdahl, for the question. So right now, we are really uncertain about how to proceed forward until we have a clear direction on what the other body is going to do with the bills on the floor over there. I can imagine that if there's some movement on that, then we could use the target that we have to start looking at another potential bill this session, or additionally splitting it somehow this session and next session. And everything is still in the air for right now, and so I can't really provide you with any additional insight until I have further discussion with the speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In other words, the future is still a bit unclear.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, members. So having no business before us, the next meeting is on Wednesday, March 29th. We will continue to hear bill on an informational basis only. The meeting is adjourned.